So yeah, like it's tough out there right now. It's hard to find people. It's hard to we find people every once in a while, but they're not necessarily like the most reliable people.
Right.
The reliable people, the solid people, still work where they've always worked, or they work for themselves. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to start growing our own groomers, like you're gonna have to start growing your own plumbers.
Well, and that's the thing too, like, particularly with our employee that has been with us a year,
Yeah.
he came into the field and he knew nothing about plumbing, but we worked with him
Oh,
and we have, you know, showed him just as much that he's valued. We've paid
yeah,
into him, and by paid into him, I don't mean just money wise,
right.
but we've sent him to trainings, we've sent him to different things. And
Yeah,
the more I think that creates a sense of um, ownership, not
yeah,
just for us, but it also creates some loyalty in the fact of that these people truly care about me, this company cares about me.
yeah.
And that's something that as a small business that we are able to do where we're not necessarily able to do that in a bigger company.
Did your husband sneak in the back
He
there?
did just sneak in.
Hi, husband.
Howdy.
Um, yeah, when you are willing to invest in people,
Mhm.
they appreciate it because, maybe that person will work with you for 5 or 10, maybe even 20 years, but no matter what, no matter where they go, they can take what you've invested in them with them. They're like they're a better, human being, a more talented, skilled human being after you are willing to do that for them, and it's important.
Absolutely. And the other thing that that does is, you know, you can hire anyone, y- but when you hire someone for their attitude that may not know what they need to do, but
Yep,
their attitude, if they're teachable, you can teach them anything. If they're
absolutely
not,
right.
they will always job hop.
That's right.
And in
Yeah,
our situation with our employee, that's what we've done. We've showed him that he's valuable to us, not only as a company, but as family, because we do,
yeah.
families in our name. So, like, the minute that you
Mhm.
say, yes, I want to come work for you, you automatically just become part of the family. Just
That's
like our
awesome.
customers automatically just become part of the family. We've had customers literally that we went on a water heater call for that my kids now look at them as a grandparent.
He
They
Oh,
comes to our
will
family get-togethers.
he comes to our family get-togethers. He has gone to our kids' sporting events. It's just that's just we are not your normal company that's, "Oh, thank you. Let me take your check and move on down the
right,
road." Like,
right.
we have created and enjoyed building relationships with every person that we walk into their house.
And that's something only a small business is gonna do.
Absolutely. To this day, I started this when we first became a company, and to this day, I still write a handwritten thank you note. Now, granted, it takes me a lot longer than
To get
it
around to
did
it.
in the beginning, but once a month, at the beginning of every month, I sit down and every person that we
Ah,
build out an invoice to and they paid it, which it
yeah,
coincides with each other. But
yeah.
I write a handwritten thank you note every month.
That's so
And then they
cool.
get a Christmas card from us at the end of the year. And those same
Okay.
Christmas cards that they got the first year, they get one every year.
That's really it's charming. It's charming, and it's like that cherry on top that makes people tell their friends about you.
Absolutely. And honestly, I didn't do it for that. It's turned into that,
Yeah.
but I didn't do it for that because I just appreciated them supporting our dream.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, when you first started, you didn't know if it was gonna work. So, like everybody that called you, everybody that paid you was basically giving you a vote of confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man, that's cool. That's a cool story. That's a cool story. Did you guys run into anything else that you wanna, since you have the ear of the folks listening right now, anything else you wanna say? Anything else you've run into that you want to tell people about?
I would just say that don't let fear, because for me, a lot of the time of um Paul wanting to like I look back now and so like Paul wanted to do this for years. And I'm kind of kicking myself. What if we would have done this 5 years earlier? How much further along would we have been?
Yeah.
So, you know, even though he's sitting here, he didn't tell me to say this, but like for so many years, I was like, no, we have to have the security of that paycheck
Yeah.
instead of pouring into ourselves.
Yes.
We continued to make someone else money, and we could have definitely just
Made our dream.
yeah, like you said, made our dreams come true. And the don't let the fear piece of, oh, what will my family think of me just quitting my job or um opening up this business on a whim. And you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
don't let that stop you following what you really think you're capable of.
You know, and I love that. And the reason I love it is because I'm somebody who thought I had the stability or what did you say, security of a check, and I had never lost a job involuntarily in 26 years, and 3 weeks after we opened Logan's house, I got laid off for the first time in 26 years, right when I needed my check the most. Look, security, when you have a job or whatever working for somebody else, it's a false sense of security. It's not real security. They could decide that they don't need your help at any time.
Absolutely. And that was something that, you know, Paul walked away from an $80,000 job, 80 plus $1,000 a year job. And it was like, because at that point, you know, we were comfortable. The
Of
first time in
course.
our life we had ever been comfortable.
Yeah, I hear
And,
you.
and I know
Yeah.
$80,000 like now is like 40 was
Oh
back
my
then.
gosh. Yeah,
But
prices are crazy.
absolutely, but like that we walked away from that and we're like we're going to do this. And last year, I mean this was gross revenue, but gross revenue we did
Oh my
$660,000.
God. Oh my
It
God.
so we would have just settled for 80. Now
I
granted
hear
it was
that.
gross, but you know what I mean, like we would have just settled because
The
of that
whole
fear.
point is like you think you have all the security, you think you have all this money, but like if you think about it, like, that's really the opportunity cost. It's an opportunity cost. I'm trying to think like you're limiting yourself to
Absolutely.
$80,000. You're not going to make much more than that, right? Maybe you might get like a turkey at Christmas or something from your boss.
Right.
But when you go into business for yourself, sky's the limit.
Absolutely. And that granted it took us we've doubled our gross revenue every year.
Oh my gosh, that's
But
amazing. Congratulations. That's
I mean,
huge.
look where we could have just said, "Oh, we're going to make $80,000 for the next 20 years."
Right. That's right. And that's exactly what you would have done if you wouldn't have bet on yourself. You have to have faith in
Absolutely.
yourself. Mm-hmm.
And I don't say those numbers to brag.
Mm.
It's just an example. Like we were good and
Yeah.
we thought because, you know, that's what culture tells us is
Yeah.
have a good job, don't have a good
Yes.
business.
Yes. Yeah,
And
absolutely. Go be an obedient employee at somebody else's company.
absolutely. And so that's what we were happy and content doing. And then if it wasn't for the pastor having a hose bib problem, we would
Yeah.
have never been here.
Well, you know what's really cool? You guys have only been in business, what, 4 or 5 years? You still got, you're not done. Like you're not done.
Absolutely. Because
You're gonna be
what
telling this story in 5, 10 years. Like, man, remember when we thought we were, hot? Beep, we're making $600,000 gross.
Absolutely. And what's next for our company is our son will be graduating high school a semester early, and then he will be starting with us January 1st of 2025. He's already in school, like I've said, and then we will the plan is to have them take over the company. We've already started, as of this week, we've started our exit plan for 10 to 15 years in the future.
That's
Um,
wonderful.
and one of the ways we've started that is he did our radio commercial. He recorded it this week, so we can start getting him in front of the customers just as much as we are.
That's
And
cool.
that was
That
another
is
thing I learned at the blocks, like, you've got to get your plan in order, even if it's 10, 15, 20 years early, it's there, and they're gonna know who he is. Um, and we're gonna just keep going.